So what are we reviewing today? Do we want to start with Peacemaker?
Peacemaker.
First, I would like to go into what are we watching?
Okay.
What are we watching?
Well, aside from what we already covered with Peacemaker or will cover, and the other shows we have on deck today, kind of nothing. Oh, yes, I finished the finale of 1883. It was good shy of great.
A Western drama.
Yes, and it's about a group of people, immigrants, and Sam Elliott and Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in 1883.
And it's a Western with Faith Hill and Sam Elliott? No way.
Walked into a bar.
Yeah, and in that bar, in that scene, in the first episode, Billy Bob Thornton shows up as a local sheriff, Jim Harcourt, and true to history, because this is a historical show, murders everybody with a gun in the bar, and he's like, "There's only one murderer in this town, and it's me."
Hey, you know what I found out was not true? You know how everybody thinks when you think of Robin Hood that King Richard came at the end of it and saved the day? King Richard was dead by the time that Robin Hood was doing all of his Robin Hooding.
Yeah, Richard the Lionheart. Also, I don't think Robin Hood is an actual person.
No, but the analogy when
when they
were
try and
they were reading the whole thing,
historically align
they went back and they're like, yeah, that's
I know that from the
sure.
Ridley Scott Robin Hood,
Yeah.
and then I watched Cinema Sins, where they're like, well, actually, this.
Rob, it's fictional, kind of like the Bible.
Yeah, but somebody said the same thing about King Arthur.
kind of like the Bible.
What's weird to me is that King Arthur was understood to me to be fake, and then it's like revealed in a weird way of like there are a group of people who think, oh, this was like a real thing.
Yeah, and
then
Merlin was there.
And it's the same thing with like Troy, of like that's like because it's about the Iliad that never actually happened, but it gets confused with myth.
When they start talking about Achilles' heel, Achilles was a real guy. I'm like, no, he wasn't.
It's just
there
a
might have
super
been a
famous
dude
story.
named Achilles back then. It's like Jesus. People are like, Jesus was real. I'm like, Jesus was like the name fucking Smith. There was a billion people named fucking Jesus, dude.
Yeah,
Go to Mexico.
And the other one is like when they talk about Moses and Ramesses. It's like maybe it refers to Ramesses the second, because that fits with the timeline, but it's actually not really based on anything. These are just stories that have reached such a high level of myth that people confuse
Start to
them
believe
for
them.
ancient. Yeah.
And then use them for their own
So back to
determining
the topic.
their own morality. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry. But what are you watching, Philip?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't done.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
with 1883, it ends fine. I enjoy it. It's handsomely filmed. It's an enjoyable show to watch, and it's basically the only TV show really that I was watching. I was surprised that it like is the only show that I watched week to week, and it convinced me to sign up for Paramount Plus.
I'm glad these bottles are so tiny.
Yeah, me too. Because I like
what
just
she said.
destroyed my teeth.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, what are you watching, Phil?
Okay. I have been. Oops. I've been watching
break it.
All of Us Are Dead,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I
right.
finished it.
Is it good? Does it have a good ending?
I very much enjoyed it.
Is the ending the best part? Because that's how good TV shows should be.
No, it's the other way around. But
That always happens in a lot, in particular during peak TV over the last few years. Things used to end, like there was a period in the platinum age of television where it's like towards the end, like Breaking Bad crested at the end. Mr. Robot crests at the end. I'll say at least in the latter half of Game of Thrones when it's like seasons like 4, 5, and 6, it's cresting there, even though the last two aren't great. But a lot of these shows just in the last 5 years, the ones that have started, because a lot of them haven't gotten off the ground. Like Stranger Things, the third season so far is the weakest. I guess we'll see the other ones. But like I find a lot of these peak early, both in their seasons and in their episodes.
well, you got to think it's not about the ending to them. They just want to get that first season out there and then renew. And the same thing happens each season. So when they finally get to an end, it's usually rushed because they were hoping for another season.
That's what I'm hoping. Now that Stranger Things announced that the 5th season will be the last season, I hope they can get to a point with this show, because Stranger Things peaked with season 1 and has been season 1 and has been downhill ever since. They can't figure out what they want the show to be, and I just wish they would.
So I find it interesting. How long do we have on this?
We can go.
Okay. So we can go for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not an hour.
Because I want to have the Stranger Things discussion. Because I'm in the weird camp. I feel that because Stranger Things fan are actually kind of kind because it's enough of like a casual audience.
Egos.
I'm in the camp that Stranger Things season 2 is the best representation of the series. There's a little bit of, Stand By Me on the train tracks. I like the character pairings. I like the arc of Bob. There's that flexibility of like, oh, is he like enough mystery of like, oh, is Bob bad? And it's a throwaway character that's made special. The turn around in the arc of Joe Carey's character, who I forget his name, the guy with the baseball bat.
I don't remember.
Isn't it crazy that we've seen three seasons of this?
Yeah.
Remember, and I can't remember
The problem with
Joe Carey's
the
name.
problem for me with the second season of Stranger Things was it turns on a fucking dime, and it sets up, goes the entire opposite direction. You're like, what?
Steve.
And I just
had to look it up.
Steve.
That annoys me and that was one thing the first season did really well, and I really liked.
I thought it did. My problem with season 1 is that it never connects the Will Byers plot line with the 11 plot line.
That's what I like,
and
the
that
idea of
makes no
this. If this
sense.
show continues, this is what you grow on. You start on the start and you grow on. By the second season, it's just like, oh man, you know who people really, really like? They really like 11, so make her a huge fucking part of it. Also, you know what people really like? They really like that the sheriff is a bit of a dope, so let's make him dumb. Not as dumb as we're going to do for season 3, but make him kind of dumb. And they just... They listen to fan service. They didn't go the way the story should go.
Yeah, that's the weak spot, I would say, with season 2, and the one thing that season 3 does is correct. Like the ending of season 3 is good, but that's only because the rest of season 3 is shit.
Oh,
so by and
man.
large, my hypothesis.
I remember
it's not
watching
shit. Like,
that
it's
third
good.
season, and I was like, holy moly! It's amazing to watch a show go off the track or go off the rails and go right off the rails like that show did.
But I want to say with season 2 of like it perfects and finishes, in my opinion, like Steve's arc as like douchebag to caring person. It completes. What's the name of Joyce Byers' son?
I don't
looks
know.
like Stephen King's the boy who's the love interest.
You're asking me. I have horrible
Who's
memories.
who? Will Byers' older brother. Who's like a total fucking creep.
Because
let's be real, his character
because
is a
the
creep.
show was so poor in its second and third season, I've lost interest in it.
But the show, what's interesting to me is like it goes casual right from the start. There's never an attitude of like, oh, this is for hardcore fans only or anything like that. It's like casual for everyone from the start. So there's never a sense of like, oh, only hardcore fans will get this.
I don't like that they let
The Nancy plot line.
They
is
let
complete.
fans start writing the show, which is bad. Whenever that happens in the show, the show fails.
But anyways, so that episode, those 2 episodes that Andrew Stanton directs in the middle of season 2, that completes the romantic arc between Nancy and her boyfriend, and you've wanted to see them get together, and they show up with that guy with the shotgun who's bald, who you've seen him as a character actor and everything. Like he also weirdly shows up as the bad guy in Tom Clancy's Without Remorse as like a terrorist, and that really threw me off.
He
was
showed
on-
up in a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
after.
Fleabag.
Yeah.
He is probably his most hardcore role, and I hear he's
SNL.
like literally a toxic human being, like which is hilarious to me. And I don't mean toxic in like a serious manner, but just like he's like like I think of you as toxic, Rob, of like, hey, like some dicey stuff, let's say, or so, I don't know how else to describe it.
You're really into gambling.
Am I?
Dicey stuff.
As an example. But anyways, my point is that Stranger Things 2, it riffs on stuff without trying too hard. It finishes off a couple of character arcs, has a bunch of lucky breaks, plus the goodwill and not starting from scratch of the second season. And you can skip the terrible episode where 11 goes with those other people to like LA that just completely...
But I thought that was season 3. Wasn't that season 3?
No, that's season 2.
That was 2. Yeah,
Was it two,
that was
eh?
awful. They're just like, go to LA, come back.
But why do you think one is better? Just because it's fresh?
No, I like with one. There's a setup. There's a clear goal in season 1. There's a clear end game that I thought was going to continue. I was like, man, this is great because this has it's got a good mood. It's got a good feel. The tone is fucking superlative. Then you get to season 2, and season 2 just was wrong for the tone that was set up in season
Probably
1.
because of
Season 2 was
Paul
totally
Reiser.
different.
Paul Reiser showing up.
See, I thought that was fine.
You know what he says at the end?
It's too much of a change from season 1.
You know what makes me laugh is Paul Reiser showing up at the end. I forget who dies in season 2.
I thought it was Bob.
Yeah, aside from and I think it's just Bob. But I feel like somebody else might. But
Does season 3 not happen?
yeah, season 3 does. But like
Bob was killed at the end of season 3.
I thought it was season 2.
Two.
Oh.
Season 3 is Dacre Montgomery's character Billy is like the main death, and then that Russian guy. Oh, that's ageless.
Yep.
This is
Yeah,
this is why when a show starts over again in like the fall or whatever, I always have to go watch a recap.
Yeah.
Because I'm
I
just
like how Netflix
what?
does that. How they have like a 5-minute recap and stuff. That's
But
great.
they need it because it's like the annoying thing is that they don't always show it automatically. They have it as a separate feature. What they should do is have it as like it plays regardless before the first one.
It's supposed
for
to.
Lost in Space, the recap was just completely unhelpful.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. Clear goals.
So all of us are dead. You'd like it.
Probably not.
You
Does that have
like
any
zombie
boobs?
stuff?
Does it have any boobs?
No.
Then I'm
They're
not gonna
kids.
watch it.
They're teenagers.
I was thinking about
So?
this when I go see Uncharted tonight.
You're hoping
like,
for boobs?
there's not going to
Tom
be
Holland's
like
boobs.
there's not going to be any
Maybe.
romance.
That might happen.
My mother always asks me this when I go to see a movie in theaters.
Is there gonna be boobs?
And it's with TV the same way. Is there? What she always asks, was there any romance?
Where them titties at?
And romance is like just an extra, very small throwaway dimension simple thing that you can add to movies and TV. And they've kind of taken it away now, and there's nothing really in its place, and it just kind of bothers me.
Have you watched Deadpool? Full of romance.
That's why Deadpool is an exception to that. Deadpool also came out in 2016.
So the other show that I'm really into right now is From. Have you heard of this?
No.
Heard of it, but I don't like generic titles.
These people show up in this town and they can't escape. No one from the town can escape this little town, and they just can't leave. So they have to deal with just living there.
Sounds a whole lot like South Dakota.
While being haunted by something at night.
That sounds like Saskatchewan. Any town in Saskatchewan.
Regina.
Toronto.
Regina.
I can't find
What's it on? What's on?
a map.
What's on?
It's on like Stars or some
Oh,
American
Stars.
thing, but
How do you pay for
can
like how
find
much is that? Stars.
It's
I
part
don't-
of Disney Plus.
I don't know what you're
isn't it?
talking about.
No, he's talking. So you're talking
no
about
clue.
Stars is by itself too.
I don't.
There is Star, which is the spinoff of Disney Plus, and then there's
No, it's not Star.
Stars, which is
don't know
owned
what
by.
it is.
Don't interrupt me.
Don't
Philip.
interrupt,
For
Philip.
fuck's sakes, when I'm explaining something. To
I'm
the audience.
listening
How dare you?
intently.
How dare you?
So what I've been
How
watching.
dare him.
Did you tell me? Are you
Stars.
done?
I don't know.
No,
Are you done with
it's
From?
owned by
Yeah, everything else.
Lionsgate.
What are you
That's all you
watching?
need to know.
I thought. Are you done with From?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
is From something to watch? Huh? Get it?
What are you watching?
Fuck off. All right. So for me, I've gone as usual because I'm old. I like to go back to old things. I've been rewatching.
that old.
I've been rewatching Twin Peaks.
yeah.
Season 2 right now of Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is
Season 2.
is an interesting animal because Twin Peaks is wholly original. You will never find anything else like Twin Peaks, and that's part of why it's great and why sometimes it sucks. Not sucks, but why it's not good. But how original Twin Peaks is fantastic, and I never watched the third season, which is why I'm getting back on
I
board with
did,
season 2. Yeah, I
actually.
never watched it, and I heard great things about it, but never watched it.
You can listen to my podcast, A Tale of Two Brothers, or the Film Gamer podcast. And me and my brother watched the entire third season. I had only seen the pilot episode of the first season, Fire Walk with Me, which is the movie spinoff.
Yep, and then so-
and then the third season. And what's great about that show is another thing that I didn't mention, Phil, is that I watched an episode of the X-Files, the postmodern Prometheus, which stars John O'Hurley. It's in black and white, and it's basically like a Frankenstein story. And as you know, Vince Gilligan was on there, and he was a writer on there.
That's
He
a Chris Carter episode, though.
Yeah. I love how you knew that. Yeah. Because I was thinking, oh, this is a good one, so it must not be Chris Carter, was my original thought. But I was watching it, I'm like, this is the precursor to, like, Breaking Bad and all these shows that we have now. And, of course, what was the precursor to The X-Files? Twin Peaks.
Yep.
So definitely give my podcast a watch because it's the only one that people listen.
I don't like in Twin Peaks season 2 that they give the murder of Laura Palmer. I thought that was kind of stupid.
Oh, you
and
know
I know
why?
that David Lynch hated the idea, but the producers demanded the fact
Bob
that they didn't do it.
Iger, the former CEO of Disney, pushed it because he said you have to give credence to the idea of like solving the murder, or people are going to get bored. And he forces David Lynch to do it. He doesn't want to do it. And then Bob Iger says in the most obvious way in his book, The Right of a Lifetime. And then I realized that once that was solved, there was nothing driving the show.
Yep, and it's obvious when you're watching the show that all the shit about how like they come back for Agent Cooper and he crossed the border. I'm like, this is all stupid. But I'm excited to watch season 3. I am enjoying season 2.
But isn't there points of season 2? I've heard that even though it's considered the weakest of all of them, that it is just riveting television.
So yeah, the start of it is like, and there's the good thing about Twin Peaks is it's made up of these interesting characters. It's no one narrative that's interesting. It's made up of a group of character.
Yeah.
And there's like fucking David Lynch's role of the guy that's the agent that's hard of hearing. I can't remember his name, but there's so many interesting characters, and that's what really makes Twin Peaks work. So yeah, I've been really enjoying Twin Peaks again.
It's kind of one that I guess I like to save, and I've watched it in a weird order that pisses off my brother because I was gonna watch the pilot. And it pissed off my mom like so much because it's so almost bad on purpose, like a bad TV movie. And I was like, I can't believe people like from the high standards that we have today of everything that birthed Twin Peaks, that like, oh my God, like this is unwatchable to me in a way. But then you watch season 3 and it's like huge roller coaster ride that you never feel that are losing control of.
David Lynch is an odd man. David Lynch is an odd man.
I'm not talking. I don't know anything about
and
it.
he's made some great films, some shit films.
Wild
But
at Heart.
Wild at Heart is one of the ones that I'm on the fence of. The one that I really dislike the most is Inland Empire. I don't understand why anyone likes that movie. But like my favorite movie by him absolutely has to be oh God, now I forgot the name of it. The highway one, Lost Highway. I love Lost Highway. God,
I thought you were gonna say Mulholland Drive.
I like scenes of Mulholland Drive. No, Mulholland Drive is a great movie with a couple of scenes that I'm like, oh yeah. But no, for my favorite one is definitely Lost Highway. I just think it's fucking great.
I heard somebody ran into
Or Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet's amazing.
Blue Velvet is a movie that I did not think I would like as much
fucking,
as I did.
yeah, it's
it is
fantastic.
great. It's a noir classic. It is watchable today as
The Gentil Fille.
What does that mean?
Yep. So I'm enjoying Twin Peaks and nothing else.
Can I give a quick summary of Twin Peaks for those who haven't seen it? Sure. It's basically about an FBI agent named Dale Cooper. I know I'm oversimplifying it. Who arrives to Twin Peaks in Washington State to solve the murder of who killed Laura Palmer. And the town is just filled with these interesting characters and happenings. You're never quite sure if it's real, if it's going to somehow dip into sci-fi. It's very surreal and unique and hugely influential. Hugely recommend watching it. It's weirdly one of those shows that even if you don't like it, it's still kind of watchable. Like, just to see what happens, it feels constrained by nothing. So I highly recommend
if you like the Marvel TV shows where everything is handed to you on a platter, you don't have to think, you just have to look, things explode, I eat popcorn now. Then you won't like Twin Peaks. You need to think when you're watching Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's available on Kojiko and Showtime for season 3, and then season 1 and 2.
I thought season 3's on Netflix.
Is it? Eh?
Yeah, that was Netflix.
It could be, because it's. But I know
season 3.
Season
Just
3
season
was
3,
made
yeah.
by Showtime. Season 1 and 2 aired on ABC, so it would make sense for it to be like on Disney or Star, but. I don't know. It also seems like something that could show up on Amazon.
They buy the rights, you know? Just go ahead and
Well, they bought the
whole
rights to season 3, and it's so weird that they would make, like, because it seems pretty expensive, season 3, and I'm like, how could they spend so much money on this with the people that show up, like all these character actors and sprawling? They even show, like, the atomic bomb going off in season 3, and
Spoiler.
Yeah. And then they have people like Neil.
Yeah. He doesn't care.
No, but that's like it's a very abstract. It's weirdly like it's a plot. This is what my brother told me, and the last thing that I'll say. You can be told Twin Peaks, but it's still not a spoiler. You have to see it for yourself.
That was what we are watching. Can you taste it.com?
As explained by Will for the rest of us.
Watchingcomplain.com.